on your table and sit in such a way that if you wanted to come up to stand, you could without making any other adjustments. No need to adjust your feet, no need to adjust which buttock you're on, no need to adjust anything. You could, at a moment's notice, just simply sit and stand. So check that out. Create that scenario for yourself. Oh, you've chosen to put a blindfold on. Fantastic. I'm glad you could find that. That's good. Now, stay seated. The hand that you write with, if you're ambidextrous, the hand that you write with most, take the index finger of that hand and place the pad, the fleshy pad of that index finger on the tip of your nose. And then take it away. Just that. Just a few times. I mean, this is a miracle in itself, that I can say these words and I can coordinate an action with you. And the fact that how well you can bring the end of a finger to the tip of your nose, that you know that, is quite astounding. We take it for granted, but it's quite astounding. It's amazing. Now, the next time that you take your finger away from your nose, notice, is there any sensation left on the tip of your nose that tells you a finger was there a moment ago? And then shift your attention to the tip of your finger and ask yourself, is there any sensation in the tip of your finger that tells you that a nose was there a moment ago? And if you're not sure, go back, put the tip of your finger, the pad of your finger on your nose, stay there a moment, now take them away and notice the sensations that are left after the fact. A sensation in your finger and a sensation in your nose. Something just happened here. Okay, now place the pad of your finger, your index finger, on the tip of your nose. And in this scenario, can you shift your attention between the sensations of your finger and the sensations of your nose? This is a kind of interesting loop-like situation where your nose can sense your finger and your finger can sense your nose, and that language sucks. So I'm going to say it differently. You can sense your finger through your nose, and you can sense your nose through your finger. That lets me breathe. That's better. Now there's a choice here. Which one will you choose? Start to slide your index finger along your nose towards that place between the eyebrows, the bridge of your nose, and go slowly enough so that you can keep on tracking the sensations. Here you are, here you are, here you are, and then here you are, here you are, here you are, as you return to the tip of the nose. Notice how smooth is that motion. Have you got so much pressure between your finger and your nose that the skin kind of bunches up and then it releases and then it bunches up and then it releases. Could you have just enough contact for the flow of motion to be smooth all the way along? No riding up of skin. Notice what you're doing with your eyes. Intentionally begin to track the changing flow of sensation with your eyes. And along that path from the tip of your nose to the bridge of your nose, is there a certain place where your eyes feel very easy? You don't feel the effort in the ocular muscles that move the eyes. Could be when the finger is at the tip of the nose. It could be when the finger is at the bridge of the nose. It could be somewhere, anywhere in between, but keep checking. Somewhere along that short path, is there a place where you feel in yourself, yeah, I could stay here with my eyes looking at this location of sensation. And then once you've found that place, stay there. And if you haven't found that place, pick a place, any place. Now, this is the place that you will always return your finger to when you put it on your nose. Okay? Rest a little bit. Place the pad of your index finger on that part of your nose that you just identified. And now begin to move your hand directly forward of yourself, away from the nose, and then come back and touch that place. Now, this forward direction, where is that? Forward of your face, forward in space of your face, not closer to the floor, not closer to the ceiling, ahead of your face. And every time you take the index finger away, take it a little further away. And then bring it back. Always bring it back to that place that you know your eyes can be directed to that part of your nose and it feels easy in your eyes. Now, keep going like this and find out how far away from your nose can you take that index finger without and still stay sitting upright on the chair. Upright means you're not leaning forward. Upright means you're not leaning backwards or to the right or to the left. Upright means upright. And some of you might start to get this idea that there's a certain moment it feels like you're pointing to something. This is what children do when they can't talk yet. They point to things. And the more they are interested in the thing that they're pointing, the further the index finger gets away from their face It's an interesting relationship. So lengthen out the arm so that you're pointing the index finger as far away from the nose as possible, and then bring the index finger all the way back and introduce a rest. Stop and rest. So we've established that you can sense yourself through contact with yourself. Finger to nose, nose to finger. We've established that you have a sense of where parts of yourself are with a great regularity, that you have a confidence in that you can keep on coming back to exactly the same spot from a really far, far away. Now let's introduce the next element. Place the pad of your index finger on that part of your nose that you know your eyes can converge upon easily. Now, just like you did before, take the index finger, take it away, 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 and point to something and bring it back, as if you're pointing to something, and bring it back. And track in your imagination your index finger with your eyes. Now, don't look. Remember, the invitation is throughout this whole lesson, do not open your eyes. You're taking the index finger directly ahead of yourself, not to the right, not to the left, not to the ceiling, not to the floor, directly ahead of your face. It's a definite spatial relationship. And you're tracking the movement of your finger in space, even though you can't see your finger. There is something fascinating about the act of pointing. When you point to something, it's like you point. It's not your index finger. It's you in relationship to that, or it, or her, or he. That's a powerful action. The next time that your finger is out there at the furthest away from your eyes as possible without you leaning forwards or, all that stuff, stay there. And now move your whole arm a little bit up, a little bit down, and follow your index finger as it goes up, as it goes down. Some of you have very strange ways of pointing. Mommy, that! I want that! Sorry, kid, don't know what you're talking about because I can't see what you're pointing at. What are you pointing at? Charlie, what are you pointing at? Show me what you're pointing at. Oh, that. Now bring your arm and your finger directly ahead of yourself, and now go a little left and a little right. Left and right, up and down are relative to your face. Some of you look like the Pope. Oh, blessings, my child. Yeah. He doesn't point at anybody, by the way. When the Pope does that, that's not a pointing action. Which, so I'm telling you, maybe reconsider how you've got your hand. The eyes are easy. The eyebrows, the muscles around the eyebrows are easy. The forehead is easy. The cheek muscles are easy. The throat is easy. The throat is open. The tongue is inside the cavity of the mouth, but it's not pressing against anything. The air is flowing through the nostrils, and all the while, you know in which direction your finger is traveling. That's enough. Stop. Rest. Now, I think this is what the lady meant by work. This kind of focused attention, even though she'd been a practicing Buddhist for 30 years, meditation for 30 years, she didn't want another lesson like this. That's interesting, isn't it? That this should be perceived as work. When I do these kinds of lessons, I perceive them as a kind of meditation. Curious. Place the tip of your finger on your nose again. Take the hand and the finger away from your nose, ahead of yourself, ahead of yourself, ahead of yourself, until the finger, the arm, is in a configuration as if you're pointing to something, what I like to call indexicality. Philippa gets it. This is real life indexicality. It, that, this, them. Now, start to draw a circle in the air with the tip of your finger and follow the circle with your eyes. Actually, follow the tip of your finger with your eyes, not the circle. Or maybe it is you follow the circle and not the tip of the finger. I don't know. Now, because you've read the case study, I can ask you this question at this time in the lesson. How do you enact that intention of drawing a circle in the air with the tip of your fingers? For some of you, this is a movement of your finger in the knuckle joint of the hand. For others, this is a movement of the finger in the wrist joint. I can see around the room. For others, it's a movement of the finger in the shoulder joint. For others, this is a movement of the finger in the thoracic spine. And for others, this is a movement of the finger in their pelvis. I love that. It tells you that an intention can be performed in so many ways, and that in itself is a realization that the thing I really want to do can be done in many ways. And when I realize that, life becomes a little less brittle. You still, you know you're still drawing a circle. That's the intent. But there's so many ways to draw that circle. If you have one way, okay, that's brittle. Two ways, little less brittle. 10 ways, that is getting pretty adaptable. Okay, that's enough. Please stop and rest. If we don't come back to this at the end, please remind me. Okay? We need to come back to this at the end. Stand up and sit down a few times, see how you're going. And the next time that you find yourself sitting, pay attention to the flow of air through your nostrils as you sit. And you'll notice that the air is cooler going in than coming out. Keep paying attention to that flow of air through your nostrils. And when you come to stand in a few moments' time, could you do at least 4 breath cycles to stand and 4 breath cycles to sit? At least. Could be more, but at least. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, standing. So you're regulating the timing of your standing to sit according to your breathing. That's your clock. 4 breath cycles to stand, 4 breath cycles to sit, at least. Now, why have I, and the next time you find yourself sitting, stay sitting. So why did I introduce that into the ATM? Because when I am with that woman, I can monitor how she's going, what state she's in. Is she playful? Has she gotten worried? I can regulate the tempo. But you can do that by paying attention to your breathing. We can regulate our state by paying attention to the breathing and letting our breathing create a different state in us. Now, raise both of your arms in front of you at the level of your shoulders. Put the palms of your hands together so that the fingertips are pointing ahead of yourself. Flip the hands over so now that the backs of the hands are touching. Leave the left hand where it is, and now slip the right hand over the top until once again palm is to palm. Interlace the fingers, and there's your position. Now undo all of that and repeat the process a few times. Have your arms out in front, palm to palm, fingers pointing ahead of yourself. Turn the palms away from each other so that the thumbs are pointing towards the floor. Leave the left hand where it is. Slip the right hand over the top of the left wrist. And now here you are again, palm to palm. Interlace the fingers. And this is the configuration that you'll be working in throughout the rest of the lesson. Now, just go in and out of that a few times, and you please find the height of the arms that's most comfortable for you. For some of you, it'll be above the shoulder line. For some of you, it'll be below the shoulder line. And make sure that it's the right wrist higher than the left. So the right wrist is on top. Great. Now, next time you're there, stay there. Have the elbows straight. This is a hard constraint. Do not bend the elbows. Keep them constant. And now in this position, move the hands right and left. Keep the fingers interlaced. Do not lose the interlacing. The elbows stay straight. Now return the hands to the middle. Now take the hands up and down. Up being in the direction of your head, down being in the direction of your feet. So above your head and between your feet. Above your head, between your feet. Good. Return your hands to the original position you're in. Now draw a circle in the air with your hands. And you can do a little baby, tiny little baby circles very quickly. Whoop, 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 whoop. Or you can do big circles, preferably slowly. But if you want to go quickly and get a torso workout, you're most welcome to. Yeah, feel it takes more energy to go quick. Yeah, those muscles in the torso go, oh, yeah, I like it. Do it more. Just joking. But some people would like that much more. Great. Return to the place that you started. Do you remember where that place was? Lower your arms, rest for a moment. And reflect. Were you following your hands with your eyes? It doesn't really matter whether you were or you weren't, but do you know? Are you aware? And when you were making that circle with your hands, did your pelvis shift on the surface that you were sitting on? Once again, it doesn't matter whether it did or it didn't. The question is one of knowing. Now, reform that shape again, but this time have the left wrist on the top, not the right. So the left wrist is closer to the head, the right wrist is closer to the foot. Now repeat the same sequence, but with this other arm crossing. Left, right, up, down, circle. Notice what you're doing with your eyes. Whatever you do, do not use your eyes to follow your hands. Do something completely different with the eyes. Notice what that feels like. Now, change that. Follow your hands with your eyes. Notice what that feels like. Now continue to make a circle now. Make a circle. And make the circle without your pelvis shifting on the table, on the surface on which you're sitting. No weight shift. Nothing. Not even a gram. No change in pressure. No change in leaning. Nothing. Is that possible? Now go ahead and allow the pelvis to move. Doesn't matter how big or how small, but allow it to move so that you can distinguish, oh yeah, there is something happening under there. Wonderful. Stop and rest. If you would like to, just to check out how you're going, you can sit and stand a few times, but it's not essential. And when you, those of you who have chosen to come to sit and stand, what's lovely is that the floor underneath your feet stays regular. It's not changing. And because of that, you can have a confidence that there's something there that will be constant, that you can rely upon. This is something that we assume when we're walking all the time, that there's something reliable to stand on. Return to sitting. Now remember the pad of the finger that you put on your nose? Could you put that pad of your finger on your nose again? That place on your nose that your eyes can look to easily. Now, take the pad of the finger away from the nose, ahead of your face, ahead of your face, ahead of your face, until the index finger is pointing forward of yourself. And now stick your thumb out. So your thumb is pointing towards the ceiling, like your James Bond, you know, Mr. Bond, James Bond. Now, take that thumb that's sticking up towards the ceiling and grasp it with the other hand. Keep the index finger sticking out, by the way. Yeah? So there you are. Now, the direction in which that index finger is pointing, go further forward, and feel that your trunk can follow. And now return to where you started. Do not bend the elbows, and now take the hands backwards. Do not bend the elbows. Now forwards and backwards. Forwards, the index finger can lead. Backwards, the hand grasping the thumb can move you backwards. So index finger leading forward, thumb leading backwards. Nice. And the next time that you are as far forward as you feel comfortable being, stay there and go left and right. Lead the hand with the thumb. So it's that hand pushing and pulling the thumb left and right. Okay, it's now Shakespeare time. You know, in Macbeth, there are the three witches at the cauldron. So as you take your hand forward, then go around to the right, then come back, then around to the left, and then go forward and pretend that you're stirring a cauldron. And of course, you have to make the appropriate sound, don't you? Bubble, bubble, boil and trouble. Now, if that broth, if that whatever, no one ever says what's in that bloody cauldron, right? What's in that cauldron? Eye of newt. Oh, they do. Okay. Now, if that was a really thick broth, how much work would you need to do to stir it? Notice what happens in your trunk when you think that there's something that needs moving around. And then, you know, they make soups called consommes. That's just basically a really richly flavored water. What's that like to stir around? Notice how much work do you need to do in your trunk to stir that around? Now, somewhere in between the two, feel what you like. What do you like? The thickness of the stirring or the fluidity? Nice. Let that be in rest. One more variation to go. And you're always welcome to stand and sit a few times to feel what's changing. Could you imagine yourself doing this sitting on a roller? Or sitting on a roller and two rollers underneath your feet. Ooh. Come back to sitting. Have both of your arms forward of yourself at a level that you've determined, yep, this is comfortable level to me. Above shoulders, below shoulders, in front of shoulders. And now clasp your hands together like you did before, with one arm crossed over the top. You choose which one. Keeping the elbows straight, begin to turn your hands in a clockwise direction. Not left or right. No, not left or right or up or down. Rotate the hands in a clockwise direction, as if someone was winding your hands up and you were the clock. Go one way, go the other way. There is a more mundane image, that of a washing machine. You know, the agitating kind, the top loaders that go woof, 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 woof. Well, you know, your arms are like turning to agitate you. Your trunk becomes agitated. It's not necessarily a negative word, it's just a description. Now, should you experience a contact with your hands, know that it's me. So here I am, Nina. Yeah. Yeah. Here I am, Anna. I'm coming here. Here I am. Elbows straight. Oh, yeah. Oh. Oh, okay. Turn them further. Further. What resources inside yourself can you draw upon to turn the hands further? Hey, how you doing? Here I am. Yeah, different, huh? Hello, hello, hello. It's us again. Tick. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Rest a moment and then change which wrist is on top because it'll make a difference. Believe me. But you shouldn't believe me. You should try it out for yourself. Hey, Gloria. It's me. Is that a comfortable level for you? Agitating machine, I told you. Yeah? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Now, whatever you do, do not let one buttock come off that table. Just don't do that. You know I'm being ironic, don't you? Would lifting a buttock off the table allow you to turn the hand further? But that would require a very specific kind of weight shift. And you'd need to discover something in the middle of yourself for that to happen. You can lean backwards, you can lean forwards, you can do everything, but to get that one buttock lifting, something has to happen at your solar plexus. You gotta have heart, just a little bit of heart. Yeah, some of you are starting to develop nice hearts, giving that heart some space to live in, right? Nice. Let that be in rest. So that's the last variation. And I knew I would forget. So that's why I asked you to remember. What was the thing we were supposed to come back to at the end of the lesson? What was it? Do you remember? Because I don't. I'm being honest. I'm not being silly here. I don't remember. Okay. Oh, making a circle. That's right. Right. So after you've rested, thank you, Anna, and thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So now put the pad of your finger on that part of your nose that your eyes can gaze at easily. Why didn't I say it that way at the beginning? That's so much simpler. Now, take your finger away, point it ahead, 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 and now draw a circle in space with your finger. And what is available to you now? How many different ways can you draw that circle? using different relationships in yourself. Have certain possibilities become available to you? They were always there, by the way. It's just that you didn't necessarily think of drawing upon them, that's all. And this is what it was like for that lady. When you and I have limited resources and we're challenged, we feel challenged. But when we know that we have a lot of resources to draw upon and we encounter a challenge, we go, oh, it's a challenge. We don't feel challenged. And I guess that's the basis of hope. That you know you have resources that you can bring to bear to live the kind of life that you want to live. Isn't that what we all want, really? I know that's what I want. Let that be. Your eyes are still closed. Come up to standing. Did you have to adjust? Just note it. Stand, eyes are still closed. Place the pad of the finger on that nose again. Now move it away, away, away. Point ahead of yourself. Now, know that because you're standing, you have now 1, 2, 3, 4, at least another 10 joints that you can play with. Now draw a circle in the air. So you've got all the joints in the feet. You've got the joint in the ankle. You have the knee joint. You now have the hip joint available to you. Whoa. Boogie. You can draw the circle further away from yourself. You can draw the circle closer to yourself. You can draw the circle more to the ceiling, more to the floor. You can draw figure eights. Actually, why don't you just simply write your name in Hollywood height letters? Hollywood. Some of you aren't stars yet. Okay. Second billing. Nice. Now go ahead and join your hands like you joined them before. Yeah, palm to palm, one wrist on top. And now draw your name in lights, Hollywood lights. What about those feet on the floor? Do you dare to let them move on the floor? Is it a dare or is it a confidence? Or is it the fact that you haven't been thinking of the feet on the floor? Now, for those of you who really like to improvise, how could you draw that name, your name, by using the purchase of your feet on the floor? That you actually, the arms are drawing the name because of the way the feet are pushing, which is the whole basis of Tai Chi. Without the ground, Tai Chi is nothing. Wonderful. Let that be. Lower your arms. Open your eyes. And we have a wonderfully diverse surface in this room. with different textures, different heights, different levels of purchase. Deliberately walk around the room across different parts of parts of the floor and notice how your body changes shape to adapt to any surface. You can climb over tables if you like, as long as you don't break them. Should you choose to step on a very unstable surface, recognize that it's an unstable surface and organize yourself appropriately, given what you've experienced in this lesson. Always based on what you've experienced in the lesson. Oh, good. Some people are finding chair seats. Some people are finding their water bottles. Interacting with a different surface, the interior surfaces, now of your body. Yeah. So that is what that lesson was about for that woman. But notice what it's about for you. So now we come to that part of the lesson where what is this lesson about for you? You've encountered the design of the lesson. You've had a number of different experiences through the lesson, and now here you are. For you, what does this mean? What's its relevance? Who are you after a lesson like that? And given that last comment, go and feed the new person that you have become and bring that new person back at 2 o'clock. Take them out to lunch.